Hello, hello, hello. Konban dogo. Selamat pagi. Guten Tag. What's the other one? Ciao? 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 Bonjour? Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Aloha. Genshiba. Bonjour. For some reason, these messages aren't loading up in my chat. Let me just... Okay, that's weird. Load messages. Give me a mo. Give me a mo. Pop out chat. It's not loading messages. Well, that's fine. That's fine. It'll load up eventually. No worries, peeps. We got this. A split between stream and Marcus. Oh, I see how it is. You chose Marcus over me, did ya? Well, you know what I have to say to people like that? Welcome to the stream and thanks for making it. Alright, let's get cleaning. So today I have a very special guest. Sword-kun, show yourself. Boom. Mud Puppy. Hey, Mud Puppy. I believe this is the first time I've seen you on my stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So these are pictures of my actual swords that I'll be cleaning today. This is my sword-kun. There's actually two swords. I've got a rapier at the top and a dagger. So I use two swords in HEMA fencing. HEMA is a recreation of medieval European martial arts, and we basically take the fencing manuals from like the 1600s, the 1500s, and we recreate it, we piece it together, and we look at the pictures and the scripts, and we're like, okay, so these guys probably said to attack like this or to parry like this, and then we put it into a system of a combat, and then that's HEMA. And I fence the Italian rapier and dagger, and the rapier and dagger is a system of dueling, mostly dueling. So that means one-on-one, where I was probably a lot of dueling happened in the Middle Ages, the Renaissance especially, where this whole concept of pride popped up in Italy especially, and if somebody offended you, they basically offended you and your ancestors. So you and your ancestors were wronged, and you had to defend your dad, your grandpa, your great-grandpa, your son, even if you were single. And sad and single, you'd still have to defend your future son's honor by righting the wrong. And sometimes people resorted to duels, so sometimes people use this rapier and dagger to fence. And the rapier, this long weapon at the top, is a rapier, and you stabbed with it. And the dagger was to deflect the other person's rapier, so you were meant to deflect their rapier and stab them in their opening. All future sons and daughters and any other gendered children, all of them. So I'm gonna start cleaning now. Let me just get stuff off my desk. Okay, so I've got sandpaper. If you look closely at my dagger, all future pups defend honor. I'm gonna put this music, turn this music off. Watcha! And turn this music on. Does anyone know this song? It's Nujabes. Nujabes's, I think it's called... I forgot the name of his album, but... It basically, he makes like a lo-fi and chill songs. Back when he was alive. So, let's start sanding. I'm not sure if you can hear this. I'm pretty sure you can. So, right now, a bit of rust has gathered on the sides of my blades. I use a really, really fine sandpaper. The finest grit you can buy to get rid of this rust. I used to use, when I first bought this, I didn't know how to clean my sword, right? So I got some sandpaper I found lying around in my garage. Turns out that sandpaper was too coarse and it created a lot of scratches on my blade, which makes it easier to rust because of all the micro dents and scratches on the blade. Gives moisture more of a surface to attach onto. Koopa, hey, welcome to the channel. My kitty is very intrigued by the sanding. So yeah, now I've got the finest money and the finest a pupper can buy on the market. Enter the 1600 grit sandpaper. Yeah, and also the problem is it's so thin that when you grind it for a little while, it smooths out. And it just becomes glorified paper. Hey man, Igor, welcome! Didn't know you played Dota 2 and Minty told me. Yes, I did. I heard that you played Dota 2 and I also suggested we should play Dota sometime. It's oddly soothing. Wait for it, hold on. Wait for it. That's my dagger and rapier scratching one another. How beautiful are they though? These rapiers were literal works of art back in the day, in the historical, well, not in the historical era, I guess. What's the word I'm looking for? The Renaissance era? They were signs of nobility sometimes. Sometimes noble families carried a weapon. It was sometimes considered part of the attire. Sort of like, you know, wearing a belt nowadays, or a tie. You wore a sword back then. I don't know. Maybe that's where the meaning of looking sharp comes from. My headphones fell off after I said that. Probably very understandable. Nuja best in the background. That's right, Igor. It is the best. This chat is a dog zone only. That is true. There are a lot of dogs in this chat. Woof woof. Woof woof. Roll 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 roll. Roll 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 roll. Doggo sanding up. I think I might have to change my sandpaper soon. Bum ba da bum 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 bum. Yeah, so these steel blades, they are rated for HEMA. They have a certain degree of flex in them. When you stab someone, obviously because these are rapiers, you're meant to stab with them. When you stab someone, hold on, let me just move myself down a bit so I can see this chat. When you stab someone, the blade is supposed to flex and bend inward, so you don't, you know, stab their bones out of their body. It's meant to be safe to use. Only problem is, mine is so flexible for some reason. It's bent, and bent blades aren't uncommon. But blades bent in two directions are especially uncommon. It's dangerous. It creates a stress point in the middle of the S-shaped curve, kink. Yeah, I call it a kink. By kink, I don't mean a sexual kink. I mean like a bend in the steel, you know? Just to make sure we're on the same page. Whoa, 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 whoa. Doggo VTubers unite. Okay, so this blade is looking pretty good. I might give it a bit of a there's a lot of steel dust floating everywhere. Let me just make sure this isn't gonna kill me if I breathe it in. Gonna give it a quick wipe. Woo! Rusty. I bet I could, with the amount of rust coming off this sword right now, I could solve the world's iron deficiency problems. I would pack all this dust in an envelope, and send it to charities, and they would put this steel dust in powder and tell people to drink it. Ta-da! Problem solved. Thanks, sword-kun. Saving one life at a time. One life every battle. Super sexy boing boing big opai neko mimi onecha. What are you doing, step bro? Where? I don't remember talking about that kink. That's not the kind of kink I was talking about. But hey, welcome to the sword cleaning ASMR. I'm just getting the rest of this. Some spots of rust left on my dagger. If I just bring the slide back in a bit. Yeah, you can see my dagger's gotten a bit rusty. Usually this happens when you touch the blade with bare hands. You know there's moisture on your fingers, and if you touch someone's steel, you know, if you touch someone's hard steel, it rusts over time because moisture gathers on the blade. And somebody touched my hard, flexible, honorable steel. I suspect it was my mentor when he was trying to show me how to thrust with the dagger. This is ridiculous. And yeah, eventually a brown spot appeared on the edge of the blade, and I was like, wait a minute. It must have been that one time. Is it just logistics, or is there a reason to use sandpaper over something like a water stone? Okay, so a water stone, you're probably thinking of sharpening a blade. These blades aren't sharp. They're meant for like a type of recreational fencing. So you do hit people with it, and if you have a sharp blade, you probably kill them. Just not the main aim of HEMA fencing. Yeah, so the water stone will probably damage the blade. The blade is it's kind of brittle, a little brittle. It's a mix, it's a certain degree of tempering with the steel, which means you adjust the hardness, flexibility versus the brittleness of the blade by heating it to a high temperature and letting it cool. So sandpaper is just to prevent me using really fine sandpaper is just to prevent me from creating too much of a scratched surface, which traps more moisture at a microscopic level. Okay, I think we're good to... So let me run my sandpaper down the blade shaft. It feels so good. How far are you gonna take it in that direction without going to the innuendo territory? I think I'm getting there, Genshiba. Fencing but murder. Hey, Radiant Platinum Skeleton Man, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I just woke up, Gomena. Sorry. Nah, don't worry. People don't know much about. In general, it's not common knowledge. HEMA, it's quite a niche sport. I think there's probably less than 10,000 people officially practicing HEMA. By officially, I mean like people who have entered into competitions or tournaments and have had their name registered. Okay, now I'm cleaning the what's it called? The guard. Yeah, these beautiful things sticking out of the side of the handle. It's got a bit of rust on them as well. Just gotta... I was seriously considering doing medieval combat, but realized it wasn't really my thing. Couldn't find any HEMA places. Yeah, exactly. It's so niche. There's probably one in your entire state, maybe? Oh, there's a couple in my state. There's probably a couple. There's 2, 3, 4 maybe spread out in my state. But Australia only has what? Hashtag sweating hard. Or how many states does Australia have again? I think it was like 6 and a special territory. I hope Mao the Doog isn't in this stream. He'd be like, Canis, I don't know you anymore. You called yourself Australian, but you don't even know how many states there are in Australia. Oh, I'm sorry, Mao. I came here late. I came here in grade 5. All right. I wasn't born here like the rest of you. I still do call McDonald's Macca's though, so there's that. There's still a bit of Aussie in me. Canis HD. The handle smooth, long, round. I love that handle smooth, long, round. Surely it can go deep. Oh, I assure you, my friend, it goes really deep. It's meant to go straight through, in fact. It's meant to pierce your soul and shatter all barriers. Nice sword, thank you, thank you. It's a German Pappenheimer. I'm not sure what Pappenheimer means, but it's sort of the name of the design, I guess, of the guard. It's really symbolic because of its shell-shaped handle, I guess. So I'm gonna change the image. Yeah, you can see that there's 2 round-shaped shells protecting the front of your hand, and some S-shaped curved hilts to prevent people from your hand getting lopped off and somebody throws a cut at you versus a thrust. Pappenheimer's a town in Germany. Oh, cool. Maybe it originated from there. Please name it Horny Slayer. Imagine if HEMA was like an anime and you had to declare your attack, your special move before you did it. Ravage the mountains, Horny Slayer. Pierce their god, heaven's destroyer. Howl, Zabimaru. Oh wait, that's Bleach. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic with my my hot steel. Source, I'm in Germany right now. Oh, really? Why do they call it Pappenheimer? I'm not sure. Maybe it's got something to do with the pattern of the shell-shaped guard. Who knows? Who knows? Stabbing us ASMR. Oh, did you like that? Should I do it more? Alrighty. I have a crap ton of steel dust on my fingers. I'm gonna get another piece of... Let's rip another piece of... Sandpaper ripping ASMR. Alright, I think this looks pretty good. Stabbing us with this shaft. Good thing I made sure this stream was not suited for kids, and I'm pretty sure nobody under the age of 18 should be on this stream. Except maybe my cousin. Okay, so I have two cousins I'm talking about. One that I'm particularly close with, and she's like about the same age as me. A little younger. A couple of years younger. But we get along. We have the same hobbies. And we have another cousin, not in her family, not in my family, a cousin from a third uncle, I guess, an aunt, and this cousin is a really curious little kid. He's like still in elementary school, and he heard from my mom that I was you know, doing something like a streaming VTubing thing, and he's like, oh, you're streaming? Let me see you play Fortnite. Play Fortnite. I'm like, I don't play Fortnite. I don't want to play Fortnite. But I was like, okay, what do you play? Do you play like Call of Duty? Do you play Valorant? Like, Valorant's better than Fortnite, but can't say I'm into Valorant. And he found my channel. He's like, oh, show me your channel, and I didn't want to show him, but my other cousin, the one I get along with, she was like, oh, if you just search dog VTuber Canisgard, you'll find him. And I was like, no. That just means everything I say and do is gonna get fed back into the family gossip, and I don't want that. I don't want my aunts and uncles to know that I've been stroking hard steel late at night. I don't want that. I don't want people to find out that I've been talking about how I use my shaft to penetrate the heavens and people that I know, and that's not what I'm into. But you know, you make do with what you got. So I restricted this video to 18 above. Same hobbies as in HEMA or anime dog on the internet? Probably more of the latter. So we draw a lot together. I'm surprisingly close with her because I used to not be that, we used to never talk basically. And we never did for a couple of years. Not even a couple of years, like close to a decade. And then suddenly one day I realized she was drawing. And I thought, oh, your art is really nice. And she saw mine. It's like, oh, your art is good too. And so blossomed a new friendship. I used to be so mean to this one person. I feel so bad now. Like, you know, as a kid. But there's no excuse for that. I don't think I can show mine to anyone, Genshi, but don't be shy. We're all doggos here. You can show us your hot steel shaft. My brother came in by my last stream. Get judged. Oh, so this is what you're really like on the internet. Well, yes, but no, don't look, please. I only have a rock hard wood shaft. I'm a kendo boy. Oh yeah, I used to do kendo as well. And kendo was something I took for 6 months in middle school, I guess. I took it at my local university club. It was an exciting experience. We just got bamboo shafts and we like smacked other people with it. But I didn't get to spar people. They made us do drills for 6 straight months, and we didn't get to spar at all until I left, and then my group started sparring. And I was like, what about me? How could this happen to me? Oh, that smell of iron. Ugh. I did it for over a year, but had to stop. Bad anxiety. Oh, you got the armor. Okay. Cool. I got the Keikogi and the Hakama. That's like the vest and the pants, the Japanese kendo vest and pants. And I got a plate, like the crotch groin protector plate with my name, Canisgard on it in Japanese. I thought that was really cool. I have lots of shafts. Started doing archery last year. I did archery too, you know. This doggo has used pretty much every weapon on the planet. I was looking into kickboxing, and then the plague happened. I'm just a lazy pup. Aw. Well, you can buy a sword and you can practice at home. I'll send you one. Kendo's awakened the instinct of me. Yujin no ke no kurai! Not a Genji main, by the way. I have to make that clear. Yeah, archery is really fun though. I missed archery. I had a recurve bow, and I'd practice every day in my backyard. Until one day my neighbor peered over the fence out of curiosity because they were hearing a lot of like toks. Tang toks. Now I'm just doing spitting ASMR, but I'm trying to make the sound. I'm trying to recreate the sound of arrows hitting targets. They peered over and they looked. I remember they locked eyes with me and I locked eyes with them, and we're just like I was like, wait, I can explain. And they're like, no, okay, no, you don't need to explain. I understand. Archery, archery. It's like, wait, no, I'm not gonna kill you or your sons, I swear. They had like 2 sons the same age as me. Oh, shit, sorry. Whacked you guys with the sword again. Alright, dagger is Cleanerino. Cleanerino Despacito. I will oil this later. So I need to remove all this rust first. Let me bring up this rapier. Le rapier. Yeah, so we can see there's a bit of rust on the tip. I haven't been taking care of my shaft very well, especially at the tip. See? The tip is where a lot of the junk and gunk accumulates. You gotta be really careful with keeping it clean and sanitized. Otherwise you get this buildup of brown gunk and it doesn't look or smell very good. Really, it doesn't smell good. I'm not even trying to make innuendos at this point. I'm spitting straight facts. It does not smell good. Don't give me that face, mud puppy. Don't give me that face. I'm not playing. I'm serious. Shoo. How are you gonna say you're done with the dagger and post the shiny? And not I will post a shiny pic, but I've gotta lube it. I've gotta lube it up first. You know, after you polish your dagger, your blade, after you polish that shaft, you've gotta make sure it's shiny and glistening, right? So you gotta lube it up, give it a good wipe down and a good stroke down the shaft. You get a cloth and you put some I use bicycle chain oil. You can use any kind of oil. If I was being historically correct, I would use coconut or vegetable oil and just run it down the shaft. Just like, you know, grip the shaft and shaft pics on the timeline. I'm down. Do you want to see my shaft? I'll show it to you. After I'm done polishing it, of course. Oh, it's looking quite nice, actually. It's looking quite nice. What's with all these weird stares? Was it something I said? I'm say so. I'm very much say so. I swear, sir, I'm say so. Don't arrest me. Ever been done for a crime before? Yeah, buried a bone. These scratches are they're a bit dug in. Like, I've got to get really down and dirty with these. Nearly dropped my blade. I've got to get really down and dirty with these scratches on my shaft. Otherwise the stains don't come out. Don't look at me like that. It's creepy. I hope this isn't gonna leave like a trail of iron dust on my carpet, because then it would be absolutely impossible to clean. Whoa, I bet that sounded good. I bet that tickled your fancy, tickled your ears with my shaft, did I? And my shaft polishing paper. I'm almost there. Let me polish this a bit more. It's just really the tip. The base of the shaft is generally quite clean, because nobody touches the base of my shaft. It's mostly the tip, because the tip is where you present the tip to your opponent or to your partner, sparring partner, of course. And Sometimes they grab your tip because it's a valid move in fencing, in rapier fencing. The blade was sharp, but because the blade was so thin, cuts were not really used in rapier fencing because it was really difficult to cut with a rapier blade. The shape and the weight was not designed to cut. It required a lot of skill to actually get a cut onto your opponent. So because of that, you could deflect incoming rapier attacks with your bare hands and just, you know, swat it away like a fly shoo. Wapow, swat it away, and you didn't get a cut. You probably wouldn't get a cut. Just the tip. Yes, my friend, just the tip. Well, not just the tip, maybe a bit further down, a third way down the tip. That's generally where people would grab, you know, your shaft. The tip is, you probably can't grab the tip because it's sharp. A real one would be sharp. With consent, of course. Sometimes it happens without consent, you know? It's really unexpected when somebody grabs your tip, when you're, you know, you're trying to present your blade and be like, hey, come get some, and then you're ready to strike, but they grab your tip and you're like, whoa, dude, that feels weird. Because you suddenly have no control of your blade, and you're just like, your muscle memory is like, what do I do? I can't move my shaft anymore, it's gone. Marx's painting stream in one ear, Canis shaft talk in another is weird ass ASMR mix. I wonder what Marcus is painting. These stains, they just ain't coming off, boss. Let me get another piece of shaft polishing paper. Okay. Where can I polish? Need a bit of light, probably. No, this is alright. I'll switch to my left hand. Sometimes, you know, when you polish too much, you shine your knob too much, your right hand gets tired. You've got to swap to your left hand sometimes. Being ambidextrous in rapier fencing is secretly an OP skill. No stat boost, no hack, no cheat or exploit or meta slave exploit could hope to compete against the power of ambidextrosity. Is fencing a left-handed rapier? What's the name of somebody who does rapier fencing? Rapierist. Fencing a right-handed rapier is not the same as fencing a left-handed one. It's very, very different. Oh god, I've gotta give this a good wipe afterwards. Hell yeah, love who you love. That is right. It's like playing an orchestra. Whoop. Whoop. So yeah, a bit of history talk. At the very beginning, there was light. And then eventually, fast forward a few million years and suddenly humans came to be. And from the dawn of evolution, there was, gasp, the weapon! And the weapon was used to take, to steal, to defend. Ever since there was conflict, there existed weapons. The earliest weapons were probably clubs. I'm just making this up, but I'm sure it's to a degree believable. The earliest weapons were probably clubs or slings and just very crude weapons. But if we fast forward a couple of thousand years and we're in the medieval, imagine we're in the Middle Ages now, where I used to, you know, roam the lands. This doggo has seen many kinds of weapons on the medieval battlefield. One particular one was the longsword. I'll bring up the. Yeesh, gotta clean my hands first. Rocks have always existed. Thank goodness. Let me get this paint document up. Oh, there we go. Okay, just getting this paint document up. Cool. So that's my rapier and dagger. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let me just scroll a bit down. Pardon me. Cain and Abel simulator. Oh yes, the rock that started it all. You have slain your brother, and for that, you shall walk the earth in pain. There was a... I'm not sure how the Bible depicts weapons, but the earlier weapons of the Bronze and Stone Age probably were closer to axes rather than swords. I think swords came about a bit later, as axes were easy to make and quite effective, and didn't require much training to use compared to a sword. The sword probably came about a bit later, not exactly sure when, but the first swords to be used in the medieval eras would have been something like a long sword, a two-handed lump of steel, essentially. And the long swords were so effective in the battlefield, right? They would have... they would see use different types of long swords, you know, but they're still long swords. As long as you could have two hands on them and they were designed to be used that way, it was a long sword. And these long swords would see use in basically until the end of melee combat. Much less later on in, for example, the Renaissance. But up till the Renaissance, you would see a lot of two-handed sword use. And long swords were expensive. They weren't something that they're not like they weren't things you could just pop down to like your local 1600s Walmart and just get a grab a couple, you know, grab a pop or two. But it's not like that. It's something. It's sort of like if I had to compare it to a modern age thing, it'd be like a car. So yeah, they were really expensive, and you know how people nowadays, people who were of middle class or higher, you could probably expect these people to be the majority of people, the majority of the category to own a car. And it was sort of like that in the Middle Ages, except for the richer, slightly richer than, it would be upper middle class. The upper middle class people back in the Middle Ages would be the ones to own long swords. They weren't cheap. And if your lord or your king commanded you to fight for them, for the land, for the country, you kind of just had to go and bought, you know, picked up whatever you could afford, you know, whatever armor you could, you know, scrounge up, whatever you could get, whatever weapon you could get, and you just were sent to war. Of course, the richer nobles would have armor, and sometimes they could even pay their way out of service. But yeah, long swords were for the rich people. They were really effective, expensive to maintain, heavy. Oh, not that heavy. They're all right. I've used a couple. They became the bread and butter of the battlefield for many, many, many centuries. And a bit later than that, people started to see more use of single-handed swords like the falchion, right under the longsword, you can see there's a curvy blade. And whenever it's curvy, you know it's meant to cut. Whenever it's straight, well, sometimes it can cut, depending on the shape of the blade, but usually thrusting was more effective. Yeah. In England, it was law to train with a bow from a young age. Oh, was it? I didn't know it was law. I just thought a lot of young kids did it because, you know, it was sort of everyone else is doing it. And it was a skill to have. Like, you could, if you knew how to use a bow, you could hunt. You could potentially fight, I guess. And they looked at some, you know, they examined some people, I guess, corpses they found from the Middle Ages. And it turns out that English bowmen had disproportionately huge right pectorals and upper bodies, specifically on the right side. And their right arm would be like a giga chad. And then their left arm would be like this sad this sad version, basically, version of the right arm. But yeah, the English bowmen were really strong and well trained. So much so that the French army started offering bounties or threats to any English archer they captured. They'd cut off their, I think it was their middle and index finger. But the English archers would be like, yeah, come get it. Doing this famous taunt where they showed just their index and middle finger at them. I would be mad. I would be so mad. Yeah, and they draw weight on the bows, like, yeah, it was like, I think it was like up to 130 pounds draw weight. Those bows were not like, you look at these Olympic recurve bow athletes, their draw weight is nothing compared to the ones they used in the Middle Ages. The bows were huge, yeah. They were basically the height of the person. Oh, let me just check. I'm not getting iron dust everywhere. This looks pretty good though. Oops. Clunk, clunk. Hey, Herd, howdy. Hey, thanks for making it to the stream. I'm still polishing the shaft of my hot steel. I'm about to get to the bowl guard. Hold on. If I scroll up a bit. Yeah, do you see this side here? I should probably draw this actually. Give me a sec. Now cleaning. Bowl guard. So yeah, we're done with the shaft now. We're down to the bowls, Herd. I need to give this one a thorough. This one's all right. Nobody really touches the bowl. My bowl guard, my bowls, I guess you could call it. I think more people touch the shaft, and that can't be helped. It's just part of the combat. I guess how you get more draw weight without knowing what a pulley is. Just by pulling it harder. Some longbows were historically up to 200 pounds. I've heard of the 200 pounds one. I don't know if they were commonly used. I'm not sure. I've heard that the standard longbow, I'm not sure about a war bow, but like a longbow, maybe one you might use for hunting, would have been like definitely in the low hundreds at least. My longbow is about 68. They could be up to like 72. Jesus. Good God. Oh, good God. My God. We don't even need like Olympic bows. Get out of here. The big chads are making their way through. Okay, so the shaft is polished, clean. I'm gonna start on the bowl guard. You can hear it makes a different sound to the shaft. There's a lot of wrinkles, I guess, wrinkle patterns on these bowls. They look really nice, and they're pretty smooth to touch as well. I'm kind of enjoying this. I'm kind of enjoying this. This is just the guard of my rapier, by the way. I need to work on the... Oh, the dagger is actually okay. I think I'm done with the dagger. I just need to work on the guard of the rapier and give it a nice polish. So with rapier and dagger fencing, just give me a sec as I move some stuff. There we go. Nothing quite like sanding your bowls in the morning. It's a ritual. I only sand my bowls once every month or two. I don't see the need to do it any more often. If I did it too often, my bowls would become too smooth, and looking at a shiny bowl guard is a bit annoying. It looks too new, like historically inaccurate because it's too new. But yeah, my rapier is a custom made by this company called Darkwood Armory, based in not sure, but somewhere in the US. They do really good replications of historically correct HEMA equipment. Just low-key giving them a shout out to anyone interested. Of course it comes with a price tag. Of course it does. It's cutting edge technology of the 1600s. Reinvented. Okay, I'm giving the guard, the S-shaped guard, a polish now. A nice sand down. Oh, see you again, Shiva. Well, thanks for coming to the stream. I'm glad you got to hear about the condition of, my shaft and bowls. We'll do this again next time. Yeah, thanks for dropping by again, Shiba. So, rapier and dagger fencing, there were... Oh, just get my sandpaper in between the shaft. There we go. There were several masters of the Middle Ages who had manuals and guides about rapier and dagger fencing. For example, you had like this bloke called Fiore who incorporated and wrote about a lot of techniques about on grappling and cutting swords. There were some rapier techniques integrated into it. He's one of the masters that influenced the rapier dagger art. Then you have, the legends like Salvatore Fabrice, who pioneered this really hyper-aggressive way of fencing where, all the rapier fences up till Fabrice were very safe. You gotta life is a precious thing sort of character. Those were the masters of the past. And then this guy called Fabrice comes along and he's like, no, if they attack me, I kill them. And he invented a lot of these guards and techniques where it'd be a counter. He'd set his blade up and dagger in a way where if you attacked it incorrectly, it would result in an instant death-inducing counterattack. Basically, he would set you up and you would bite the bait and you'd get like a hole punched through your chest or your head. That was Fabrice. He made some really crazy ways of fencing. A lot of people nowadays look up to Fabrice and say he's the one true master to rule them all. But, there's a lot of cross overlap between Fabrice and all these other masters of the old days. You can't take all the credit, Fabrice. Just because you worked for the king of Germany at that time, right? Training all his men in the royal army. Even then, You can't take all the credit, Mr. Fabrice. And then you have people like Giganti and Capoferro. Very Italian names. There are other schools of rapier fencing other than Italian. The Italians did it really well. They had a different philosophy. Modern fencing actually comes more from Italian fencing. The other style of fencing is Spanish fencing. There's also a German and English type of fencing, but English fencing was not very successful in general, and a lot of people favored Spanish or Italian, and German was just like a mix of Italian and some other techniques. Olympic fencing comes from a lot of Olympic fencing's rules, and the way you fence comes from Italian rapier fencing. So Italian rapier fencing was very characteristic. It was a very characteristic way of fencing where you didn't use circular movements. It was very linear. You basically moved up or down, forward or backward. You didn't really move sideways. Whereas the Spanish people walked in circles, and even the way they swung their swords were really circular. So the Spanish people had a different philosophy. They have their own perks, ups and downs, but it's just all up to personal preference, I think. Oh, I love this song. And so I'm sanding the pommel now. Let me just grab my mouse with my grubby mitts and pommel. There we go, which is the little ball at the back of my balls. So there's 2 balls at the front and there's a ball at the back. Imagine having 3 balls. Couldn't be me. Nope. Watching some fabrics, techniques, and footage it is incredible. Can I show you this? Herd. Look at this. Okay, so all the pictures in white, except for the bottom left, are standard rapier dagger techniques, you know, forged by the old masters. All the masters that weren't Fabrice. And then you have bottom right. In yellow, we can see a plate, which is like a situation Fabrice describes. And this is the stance he encourages. So you can see already that Fabrice was a really odd person who had a fetish for showing really flashing buttocks, and I think he probably had a thigh fetish as well. We can see the detail and the muscle in the thighs required to execute Fabrice's techniques, and no doubt the man Fabrice himself would have had thunder thighs that could crush a watermelon. But yeah, the main point is, it doesn't look like what you'd expect from a middle-aged fencing manual, but yes, this was a technique that was encouraged and taught by Fabrice. And, you know, people didn't use techniques that failed, because if it failed, they would be dead. So the reason why Fabrice teaches these techniques is because they had some success in some form or another. Otherwise, he wouldn't teach it. He was a practitioner of his own art, and he would have found or discovered at some point that, oh, this is actually a really good way of attacking. So Fabrice is an eccentric guy. This technique in the bottom right in yellow is mostly, you can see the person's head is bent to the left and they're leaning to the left, but their sword is on the right. And this is to threaten a very quick attack that requires no wind up. You can just push your arm out and you'd stab them instantly. And because your head was to the left side of your sword, trying to parry their sword or counterattack their sword would probably not result in a head hit, so it wouldn't be fatal because your head was all the way on the other side of the sword. It was on the left side, whereas your sword was on the right side. So then you either stab the head and get stabbed yourself, or you do something about the left side and expose yourself to a fatal risk, take a possibly fatal risk, just to fence against this guy. And of course, you needed balls of steel to do this. Kind of like the balls I'm polishing right now. They are made of, quite treated steel. I think I'm a fan instantly. Yeah, a lot of people in Europe, people swear by Fabris. In my school, we learn Fabris, a little bit of Fabris. We learn a little bit of, we learn quite a bit of Capoferro. Very Italian. But some people, you know, you're free to learn your own techniques. You study whatever you want. People favored Fabris in Europe. I was talking to another Viking VTuber, Alfhilde, Odin's daughter. Her partner is a HEMA practitioner. I kind of had a indirect conversation with him, and he just straight up said, "Do you learn Fabrice?" And I said, "Well, yes and no." And he's like, "You cannot beat me if you do not learn Fabrice." And I was like, "Oh, fair enough. You might not be wrong there." But I beg to differ. Like, every technique has its own ups and downs. There's no God technique that, you know, God punches. One punch, God punches through their throat and you're safe. There is no such thing. Yeah, so dual wielding swords. I thought it was so cool. I went straight to rapier and dagger myself. I loved it, so I love the look of it. Just look at it, top right and top left. You parry with a dagger and you stab with a rapier and it looks so flashy. It's like, you know, Kirito and Sword Art Online all over again. Starburst stream! That was what I wanted to do in real life. So I picked rapier and dagger. And at some point I was hoping, hey, maybe we can, if I learn rapier and dagger, maybe I can learn dual swords. And then on the bottom left there is a picture of two Roman looking legionnaires using two swords, two one-handed swords. Unfortunately, dual wielding with two long, like non-dagger weapons, long swords or short swords, I guess even, was not practically feasible. And the reason why is because if you're holding two long sticks side by side, one, the enemy could just smack both your swords out of the way with one strike, or two, your swords, when you attacked, would collide into each other and kind of screw up your attack. There were some really very specific and niche ways to use two long length swords, but it wasn't something you would do if your life depended on it, because it was too inconsistent and unreliable. You didn't want to rely on unreliable techniques, and if you did and you tried it and it didn't work, you'd be dead, and that technique would be lost forever. If everyone did it and, you know, died to be using it, that technique would be lost in history. So Fabrice goated. Oh, you know what? He has a really cool goatee. But yeah. So my dream of dual wielding swords like Kirito ended right there. But my enjoyment of fencing with two swords remained. Yeah. And so, weapons throughout the Middle Ages. Before the rapier and dagger, we had lots of weapons, like these broadswords, falchions, short swords, you know, daggers of all sorts, parrying and thrusting daggers, and we have pole arms like this halberd and morning stars that came out as a response to a heavily armored knights. And every time there's conflict on a large scale, there's also a huge weapons arms race that goes on. A lot of money gets put by the government or the king into developing a better way to fight the enemy. And these weapons were all evolutions of the conflict situation at that time. So pole arms arose as a response to cavalry, a lot of horses running and cutting down people on the battlefield. So people thought, well, we need something to deal with the horses, so we'll create this long stick with a hook that will hook the horse's legs or hook the cavalry rider off the horse, but also be able to stab and cut people. So that was the halberd. Very popular weapon used by the Swiss army. Let me just twist my knob a little. Let's give my knob a little. I'll knob my knob a little shine. There we go. Feels good. Feels good. Okay, I think most of the rust is off my third bowl, my pommel. Looking good. I like it. I like it. And yeah, I am a big fan of weapons in general, both Middle Ages and modern. I find the history of weapon evolution really fascinating. Unfortunately, I don't know much about the transition between melee weapons into firearms, because it was a bit of a messy period. You know, some people were still using swords at a time where the flintlock pistol was also invented, so it was a bit of a blur. Did you get an ASMR mic? Hey, Rin. Hey, welcome to the stream. I did not get a ASMR mic. I just removed the sound gate and I put the mic closer to my sword. Do you like it? Do you like that shaft polishing sound? Excellente. Excellente. Okay. This is looking quite good. I might give my things a polish now. It's looking really shiny. Ooh. Yes, polish my buns too. My buns, I mean bread. I can polish it with, I'm using bike chain oil. If you want me to polish your buns with bike chain oil, I can do that. I can do all sorts of things for you. If you need a hot steel rod shaft that needs polishing as well, I can do that. I'm gonna give the side of the blade a nice polish. Running it up and down. Ah, yes. I think that because crossbows were invented and people needed less training to be able to be combat effective, it progressed into their firearms. Oh yeah, there was also people who were still using crossbows when flintlocks came out, I think. And there progressed to the point where you had this there was a revolving or like a multi-shot crossbow. It was a bit weak. And I don't think it really saw use. It was just an invention that happened to be recorded and you know, immortalized through time. There are these black marks on my blade that I can't seem to. I don't know. Yeah, let me. I don't know if I. I know this song. Bum, oh my god, I love Nujabes. Oh, I would eat dirt to hear him live if he was still alive. Sorry for that bad pun. If he was still alive, and he could hold alive somehow, I would eat dirt. Literally, 3 spoonfuls, maybe not 4, 3 spoonfuls, to be able to listen to it. I think the Mayans might have had a reloading crossbow too. Yeah, I think the Chinese civilization had a reloading crossbow as well. The problem with reloading crossbows is that you don't have a lot of... Usually the crank is not as powerful as standard crossbow. And there wasn't much point, you know, making a slow reloading crossbow with high power. So a lot of the reloading crossbows happen to be weaker in draw weight than the single shot crossbows. Do at least 5 spoonfuls of Miku live again. Oh. Do they still have lives of Miku? I think it kind of died down a little, didn't it? What, with all these Hollow Lives going up, a lot of people still attending Hollow Live lives over Miku lives. Ooh, okay, there's a lot of steel dust on my fingers. We just polish the base of my shaft a little more. Oh, that looks good. Oh yeah, you a fine boy, you a sexy boy. You a pretty girl in a pretty world. Congratulations on 100 subs. Do I have 100 subs? Really? Really? Some Brazilian guy told me I had 100 subs yesterday, but I think it was his translation tool that mistranslated it to good luck on 100. That was just yesterday. Miku live last year. Oh, do they still have those lives of Miku in the holograms? You know those 2D flat panels that project an image that makes Miku look like she's 3D and on stage? Because I saw a video of that and I was legit so impressed. I was like, is this the future? Are we living in the age of flying cars? And yeah, just over a hologram of a 2D anime girl with a synthesized voice singing on stage. Oh, do I have 100? Oh wow, 100 subs! Guys, now I can say I am 100 subs VTuber. I need to do an Among Us collab with other VTubers. Please, Canis, why should we trust you? I'm 100k. Oh, not 100. I'm 100 subs VTuber. Believe me. Or if Herd was a VTuber, it'd be like, Herd, you very kawaii. Very kawaii, Herd. And he'd be like, nah, go to hell. Vote me out. I still have Miku Expo and Miku 2021 is free. Oh, cool. Ooh. Went to the concert. I mean, if the concert is free, couldn't we all just watch it together on stream sometime? Like, you wouldn't get, let me just clean this, replay that amazing soundtrack. The Nujabes tribute. There we go. Okay. Just gonna. Oh, guys, my shaft is so shiny. I'm sorry. I mean, my steel blade shaft is really shiny. I must have sanded all the grease off it though, so I need to give it a quick wipe with this tissue. Okay. Nothing quite like a box of tissues after a shaft polishing session. Am I right, guys? Am I right? Got him. Okay, now for the second shaft. Let me just. Oops, I pressed something. I don't know what. Oh, yeah. Watching a Miku live on stream sounds like a really fun idea, not gonna lie. Is there any rust on my guard? Nah, should be good. It feels so smooth, like I'm running my fingers all over this piece of steel, and it's just feels like a baby's bottom, literally. Maybe not literally. I don't think I've ever felt a baby's bottom before, but you kind of get the gist. Hey. Ooh, yeah. I'm down for that collab. It's just a 12 people, it's just like a 5 people collab where where we just watch Miku live and fanboy, fangirl over Miku. I've been getting into, well, I was always into Hololive, I guess, since the start of last year. Sorry, I need to concentrate on applying the grease on my the lube on my steel shaft. Just gonna give it a quick squiz, you know, a quick squiz on the shaft and a bit on the blade. I can't spill anything on my table or I'm gonna flip it. Whoops. Sorry guys, didn't mean to poke your ears again. Okay, a clean wipe of grease. Bike chain oil. The best. I remember one of the Miku lives though, the hologram stopped working half an hour into the show, and all the people that paid for the concert were like, seriously? Ooh, okay. We did it, guys. We did it. Beautiful! Subarashi! Wunderbar! I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore in other languages. That's all I got, guys. I'm gonna leave this on the wall. Give my rapier a bit of a lube. See, lube is really important, guys. Never miss out on the lube. If you don't have lube on your steel, are you even thrusting correctly? Turn around, lube both sides. No, just give it a light coating. You don't want to go overboard in the lube. I'm just gonna put a bit on the bowl as well. You know, bowl's gotta be shiny too. Oh, I think I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry. I made sure I couldn't cover that sneeze either. If you get the Rona, you can blame it on me. I'm sorry. Okay, let's get some lube on the guard. Bum bum bum. Just give me one sippy of the oil. You sure you want that? They have a live band doing all the instrumentals. Oh, do they? I thought it was live. It was pre-recorded and they just play it. But that's cool. Anna Maraguchi and Tunisia that I forgot the band for Tunisia, at least for the NA tour. Oh yeah, that's right. They had an NA tour, didn't they? It was really popular. It was quite popular if I recall. It was sort of like, there was a big turnout if I recall. Buff sneeze. Bjork. At least you know what kind of sneeze I do now. The one sneeze I never understood were the sneezes that, you know how some people are able to sneeze without making any sound? They sort of just keep the sneeze in and they're like, How do they do that? How do you not let it out? When you gotta sneeze, you just let it, let it come out. Let it come out all at once. Maybe that phrasing doesn't work so well when I'm talking about hot shafts and steel polishing and lubing. But doesn't it feel if there are any people who sneeze like that in this chat, doesn't it feel like your head's about to implode? When you feel a sneeze coming out and you keep it inside, it's like kaboom! I'm glad I sneeze like a Bjork. A boof. Alright. We are good. Shiny, polished. A tip a bit bent, but you know, sometimes it comes out of the factory like that. There's not much you can do about a bent tip, other than to use it to your advantage, if you know what I mean. Just aim for the right spot, and hurt him real good. Hurt him real good, that bend in the shaft. I'm just gonna leave this on the... Okay. Gonna pack this oil up before I get chain oil all over my table. Oh. There we go. What are you talking about? Sneezing made me sneeze. It's like that other thing, you know, with yawning, how people say yawning is contagious. And I've been watching people, non-consensually, of course. When I yawn, the moment I yawn, I look around and see who else yawns. And you would be so surprised. You would be so surprised at the number of times other people yawn. Whether it's someone you know or not. Just looking at someone yawn, I bet you if I went, oh, right now somebody's gonna yawn. Somebody is gonna yawn. Hey, stop making me yawn, Canisgard. I can't help it. I'm gonna turn the music down a little bit. There we go. Oh yeah, I had pictures of other weapons as well. Cheating, I'm in bed. Surprisingly, I don't actually yawn that much in bed. I just you know, lie down and surf Twitter, read some manga, and just turn off the lights and just, you know, hit the sack. There's no room for. Probably because I'm never tired and I'm just a night owl dog. Lever guns. Yeah, so I wanted to get into flintlock pistols. I don't know much about flintlocks, like I said. Lever actions were cool though. Lever actions were sort of the start of modern firearms, where we had a cartridge filled with gunpowder to ignite. Well, you had a cap to ignite the gunpowder, which would send like a jet of compressed air and project a bullet head down the barrel. That was a very American invention. But it's cool. I really like it. Eventually, these cartridges started getting more and more sophisticated. And right here, this is a World War I Lee Enfield, an Australian version. The Lee Enfield was a very popular bolt-action rifle used in... I'm pretty sure it's English. Yeah, it's from the UK. You know, every country has their own bolt-action rifle used in the world wars. You have the Japanese Arisakas, and then you have like the German. There are tons of German ones, but I'm thinking of the Carabiner 98, and then you have the Springfield from America. It's so cool. It's so cool. The Australians had their own Enfield. The Lee is really cool. I love this. I love the shape here. This really nice curve here from the butt into this ring here, and this shape here, the magazine chamber. Oh, guns are wonderful. Guns are great. I love guns. And then more sophisticated guns started coming out. Right, and then you have something like this. The Lewis machine gun. I'm pretty sure this is a World War I machine gun, which had a really cool spinny magazine. And the bullets would swirl before going down into the chamber. It uses some sort of, I think, a pulley-like system that you crank probably in the middle. Either that or that was the Russian submachine gun, the PPSH, which had a similar magazine type that you cranked. Yeah, looking to be a gunsmith one day. You should be. If you enjoy working with guns, it's like, you know, being a mechanic. If you enjoy working with cars, you want to be a mechanic and you want to look at cars and, you know, fix them up, fix your little babby up, your babby boy up every single day. So yeah, eventually we had more and more interesting guns. You know, this is the MG42 or the 36, I'm not sure. I think it's a, looking at the front, it might just be a 36. Yeah. The older predecessor to the MG42, used by MG34. Sorry, yeah, there we go. The MG34, used in the start of, not at the start of the war. I guess you probably would see these in the start at the start of World War II, but alongside later on the 42s. Then here we have like a Gewehr 43, a Kar 98, and a Stig 44. All of these are manufactured during the Second World War by Nazi Germany. And you know, Nazi Germany, despite its notoriety, I think they made some really, really interesting technology. Obviously not for the greater good. Definitely not for the greater good. But you can just appreciate the sort of design and the effort that went into creating these weapons. Especially the Stig 44. The Sturmgewehr, or the MP44 is later called. This was the first real assault rifle used in combat. Really effective weapon. And here I found some pictures of American weapons used in the Cold War. A lot of it is similar to what people used at the end, towards the end of World War II. In fact, it pretty much is the same. A lot of these were used at the end of World War II. Then they developed this, the M16, which started being used in the Cold War and the Vietnam War and the Korean War as well. People started, you know, they started distributing these. Eventually, it would evolve into the M4, the very mainstream M4, which is one of my favorite guns. I know, it's like saying you like vanilla ice cream. Do you like M4s? Hey Canis, what gun do you like? Oh, I like the M4. Oh, so basically you like vanilla ice cream too. Like, yeah, I get that everyone has it, but yeah, it just looks so cool. That's why everyone loves it. Fast forward a couple of decades, and here we have a Chris Vector. Not one of the... I think it looks pretty nice, but it's not one of the most... it's probably a bit more well-known now. But the really cool thing about this Chris Vector gun is the way the recoil is mitigated through a spring system in the chamber here. The spring... So every time you shoot a gun, there's a lot of pressure coming out both ways. And this pressure kicking back at your shoulder is what destabilizes your gun and causes it to move up, down, left, right. But by mitigating a lot of that counter force, by making the force go downwards, it makes it a lot easier to aim and use this gun. And it has a really crazy high fire rate too, so it shoots like I don't remember how many rounds from the top of my head, but it's really fast. It's really fast. The ammunition they use is monstrous as well. It's it does use a 45 ACP, which is a really fat round that's designed to sort of just knock you out instantly. Yeah, so we fast forwarded a lot in terms of weapons of the old times into modern days. But yeah, I guess that is pretty much all I wanted to say for this stream. Weapons are cool, guns are cool, swords are cool, polishing your knob is really satisfying. It's quite relaxing. I'm out of bed now, but voice meter hasn't started up, so no audio lamau. Oh, okay. That's fine. No worries. I think I'm about to end this stream anyway. So, it is Friday tonight. Tomorrow, Saturday, is gonna be a resting day for me, and Sunday as well. It is actually my birthday tomorrow. Roll. turning 2,689 tomorrow. Oh, doggo. Whoa. Oh, thank you, mud puppy. Thank you. Thanks, herd. I like to keep my birthday a secret, you know. I don't publicly have it on social media, like my Facebook, for example. And a lot of my friends went through this entire time not knowing when my real birthday was. So I'm not sure if I like that, you know, that insincere. Back then, I thought it was I thought when you have your birthday public, and people would come and wish you a happy birthday purely because Facebook said it was your birthday, and I didn't like the idea how people didn't, you know, have to remember anything or put any effort into knowing when your birthday really was. So I sort of hid it. I didn't want to. I felt it, to me it felt like a form of insincere congratulation, and it didn't feel right to receive. So I just hid my birthday from people. My close friends remembered it, and that meant a lot more to me than people who just sort of, oh look, it's Canis's birthday, let's wish him a happy birthday, roll. So yeah, cool. Some final things I want to mention before the end of the stream. I want to do an art raffle. So up till now I've done 4 follower drawings, and these follower drawings were of randomly selected followers, but as I've gained more followers, PS, I'm almost at 450, yay! As I've gained more followers, I've noticed that there are a lot of people that just either don't have an avatar, or it's sort of like a personal account where they just, you know, go on to browse things that it's not really active. And I don't want to, I'd rather draw followers that interact with me more and that are more active, you know, over people who are just casually browsing. So I want to hold a raffle. It's a raffle, it's a weekly raffle, and I just want to get people that are following me to like it or something, and so I know who's still active and still, you know, interested in getting an art drawn of them. Weird way to say you just want to draw dogs. Oh yeah, it still doesn't let me give you my dosh. Oh, that's that is weird. We can talk about that herd later in DMs. That would probably work out better. So yeah, I also have an art raffle for those who don't know. I have an art raffle where I collect, instead of collecting donations for myself, I collect donations for a raffle where at the end of the raffle, 8 or more people get chosen to. Sorry, not get chosen. 8, all the donors get enter a raffle, and we draw a winner, and the winner would get that pool of money to use for a local VTuber artist to commission any sort of art they want, you know. Basically, instead of going to, you know, people outside of the community such as Skeb or Fiverr, I wanted to support VTuber artists specifically. And those artists would be chosen by me, looking through multiple different portfolios and profiles of different people, choosing the more, usually leaning towards more niche artists to help them get their foot in the door. As a sort of a crappy artist myself, I can sort of empathize with artists who want to break into the whole commissions game but aren't able to, because it's really hard to get your foot in the door. So I want to help along that. Just a thing to mention. So I just need 6 more donors. The first one was me. There's 2 donors in the run right now. We just need another 6. So if you have spare change lying around, or you'd like to contribute to local artists, I would really appreciate if you could consider entering the raffle. So there's that. The link is below. My coffee, Canisgard. The minimum amount is $3. It doesn't really matter how much you put in, as long as you can afford it. As long as you're not really tight on money, It's important to consider yourself first, guys, before you simp for local VTubers. So yeah, cool. I will release pictures of my newly polished shaft and possibly some video clips and edits later this week. Otherwise, thanks for coming to the stream, guys. I really appreciate every one of you. Thanks for coming to make conversation. Thanks for, you know, listening to me grind my shaft down to a T. I had fun talking to you guys. Thanks a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week, hopefully. Roll, 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 roll. See ya. Thank you. Wonderful stream. Thank you. I'll see you guys on Twitter. Laters.